yeah, firstly. And as well, this universe, the way that it's sophisticated, the way that the things are in place. Look at us as us here. I mean, it can't be the chance that we are here, for example, and the way and the amount of air and the water and all these things, the way that it is. Yeah. Now these are we should reflect, for example, how we, about that we should came from something. And as well, we could prove our existence as well. Sometimes I will say to you something. I will give a theory, generally, like for example, just like many theory, and then it's open for discussion. Yeah. So the theory, which let's say I suggest, we could find that our existence, or we should believe that our existence came from a creator, from the Quran. You will say to me, we need to prove that there is a creator who sent the Quran first, and then we'll discuss about the Quran. I will say we could work vice versa. How? When we check in the Quran, yeah. For example, there are things mentioned in the Quran, which is we think, if we think about it, it cannot come from someone who lived 1400 years ago in the Arab Peninsula, who is illiterate man. He cannot read and write, and he will say these things. For example, God told us in the Quran, we have sent down from the heavens the iron which we use it wasn't created within earth. Not just that, it is not created within our galaxy, because to create an atom of iron, you need a huge amount of energy to create one atom of iron. So how the iron came, and it's a great factor in our existence, that us, our blood, hemoglobin, chlorophyll in the trees, all these things around us from iron. Yeah. So, and the iron, it is not there. It wasn't there on Earth. It wasn't even in our galaxy. It needs a huge amount of energy to create one single atom of iron. So God told us that we have sent down from the heavens the iron, and it has strength and power. So, and as well, the people, they will get benefit from it, or they will benefit from the iron. Who taught Muhammad about this? If you think about it, who taught him? Someone, even the new people who are studying chemistry and studying the energy and all these things, until now they couldn't even. When you read the Quran, that's like there's one mathematician who's still alive, I think, and he used to be atheist. Yeah, he said when you read the Quran, you cannot resist. Either you have to accept, or you have to turn a blind eye that you have never saw it before. This is what he said. All these things, what I said, the proof of the universe and all these things, for him it didn't make sense for him. What it makes sense for him when he read the Quran. When he read the Quran, as soon as he read the Quran, he said, "This is when you face the Quran, you will be in a war with yourself. Yeah. Either you have to accept, or you will turn a blind eye. Just like you will ignore. You say, I never read that. This how is it?" So he came to this point. Why do you think he came to this point? And he came to Islam when he found the truth. And he is one of he used to be the head of the mathematics and the head as well of Atheist society in one university. I forget his name, but you will check it. Check mathematician who became Muslim, something like that, you will find it. So this person, why do you think after he lived all his life in mathematics as an atheist, and then when he read the Quran made sense to him.
The one person?
Yeah.
One person?
Yeah. So, and there is a lot, not just one person.
One of many.
There is a lot.
What about all the Muslims?
And there is a lot. So now, we need to understand, so when we analyze in a logical way, yeah, this Quran, this book, for example, when Muhammad ﷺ, when 1400 years ago, when the Prophet ﷺ, when he say, for example, things which is proved in science as facts, that they are there, which is Muhammad at his time, he didn't have all this equipment. Not just, he doesn't have even the access of the simple knowledge of his time, which means he's not able to read and write. And yet, he will say these things. For example, one of the things which is mentioned in the Quran, yeah? Allah said in the Quran, when Allah make an oath by the positions of the stars, yeah? For example, when Allah make an oath by something in the Quran, that shows this something is great, we need to reflect, we need to think about it. So God made an oath by different things. For example, the olive tree and other things. So one of the things God made an oath with is, he said, I will not make an oath by the positions of the stars. And it is a great oath, but you are not yet aware of that. So God is talking about the position of the stars. He's talking 1400 years ago to the people in Arab. They used to see the stars and they never thought, what are these stars about? They saw these lights or whatever. Yeah. Now, after 1400 years ago, when we find that when you see a star, what do you see exactly?
You see a star.
You see the history. Yeah? Because when the light travels in the space, it takes millions of years until the light reaches your eye, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, so what you see the position of the star when it left, for example, it gives that light millions of years ago. Who taught Muhammad about these things? This only we found it recently, and a lot. For example, things in the Quran mentioned. What do you think 1400 years ago? What is the deepest point any strong diver or any person who is able to dive in the sea is able to dive? What do you think? Give any guess.
120 meters.
120 meters. One person could dive 120 meters. 1400 years ago.
Oh, 1400 years ago. No, maybe like, I don't know, 20 meters?
20 meters, let's say 20 meters. Let's say 50 meters, whatever. So God told us in the Quran, those ones who are away from the guidance of God, they are like just someone who's deep in the bottom of the ocean. Above him there is a wave. Above the wave there is another wave. Above the sea there is a cloud. Even if he took his hand out of his pocket, he will be not able to see it. Darkness upon darkness. So God is describing certain type of darkness in the sea.
Underwater waves.
Underwater. And now, and listen to this. This is the beauty of it, yeah? So the people at that time, they used to see the sea waves on the surface. That's what they used to see. Now later on, or recently, they found that deep inside the ocean there is another wave which are called the sea currents, which travels in waves as well. So when the sunlight comes to the earth, there is over than 40, but there's a cloudy weather, like today for example, you will find 40% of the sunlight will be reflected back, and only 60% will go through. This 60%, if there is a wave, then the waves breaks the light, as you know, and which is half of it will go through. And if there is another wave, which is the remain will go. And if there is any light underneath, by the depth of the ocean, there will be no light. Which means if someone took his hand out of his pocket, he will be not able to see. Who taught Muhammad about it? These things, who taught him? These things, this made me, for example, be amazed. Who taught him? And he said, he was known amongst his people that he is the one who is only saying the truth amongst his people. Even the people who fought him, the people who were his enemies, yeah. When you ask them, and it happens, for example, when Abu Sufyan was against him, was his enemy, yeah. When Caesar asked him about Muhammad, he said, "Is he known that he's a liar?" He said, "He doesn't lie," and he doesn't lie. So he was his enemy, and he knows that he doesn't lie. So this person who doesn't lie, he never claimed something for him.
Why was he his enemy?
Yeah.
Why was the guy his enemy? Was it just over?
Because they don't want to leave their forefathers' belief.
Okay.
That's how is it. And arrogance, of course, when you have estates and all these things. And they don't want to be equal with their slaves. That's what they think. They think because Islam brought equality in the society. Yeah? They couldn't be even thinking about to be equal to their wives, that they are equal. They couldn't think that they are equal, that they are human being equal to their slaves. They will not take it. Do you see where they are coming from? So these things, when you, as for example, as someone who studies science and logic and all these things, when you read the Quran, you will be one of the two choices. And I believe what you said. You have to accept, or you will say you'll just pretend that you never read it, you never heard it. And you know what? And there will be a time, and I will say if you don't accept it, there will be a time that you're gonna regret, that you wish that you followed the messenger. You wish that you have followed this book. This is what we are bringing. That's why we are here to have, for example, this good discussion with everyone and to educate people about Islam and to remove any misconception.
I think it's good that we can have these discussions. It's what I find sad is the idea that someone can live a good life and within the framework, as you put it, the framework of a specific religion, whether it be Christianity or Islam, they cannot be redeemed even though they lived a good life that they thought was good. So the most extreme example I can think of is when somebody doesn't have the exposure to Islam at all,
Yep.
and they live a good life, again, within the moral frameworks that were given to them. and then taking the hypothetical that they're now presented with their God, and they say, what have you done? And you say, well, I've done all these great things, but I didn't know, I didn't have the chance to know. Is it their fault?
Now, the people who doesn't have, we know that Allah told us in the Quran, Allah is justice. Yeah? Allah said to us in the Quran, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى we'll be punishing no one until we send a message or a messenger. Which means no one in the day of judgment will be punished without knowing the true message of God. No one.
That's good then. Yeah.
And that's the fairness. Which means, that implies, if you heard about Islam yourself, for example, today, now what you need to do as a human being, you need to go and search, study, understand for yourself. It's at the end of the day, we live one life. So this one life, which means you can't, for example, if you have one chance, if you have one chance to do something, it has to be perfect. Yeah? You know that. Logically, for example, if you want to do something, if I give you, for example, one shot to do something, and you have one chance, one shot to do it, you have to do it perfectly. If you miss it, you miss a lot. So you live one life, so you have one chance. One chance. So this one chance has to be perfect. And how it should be perfect? Study and learn for yourself. Understand. Read what the work of the people. Read how Islam brought, uplift the science throughout the dark ages. And as you know how those scientists and those great scholars, which they were Muslims, and in the same time they were scientists in the time where the church and the people for the other faiths, they used to torture and kill anyone who has this concept of science. Where in Islam, they used to come to Muslim countries or the Muslim state, and they used to come and study science with them, and they used to learn from these great scientists of Muslims. You see, this is what I urge you to study for yourself, because since we have one chance, it has to be perfect. So I will leave you with this for today, and I wish you all the best. And I think there is a brother here, he has a good book.
I have a Quran already.
No, this is a good book. Yeah?
And this one also.
This is, I think, the same. Anyway.
I'll take all of them.
Yeah, you take all of them.
Cool.
And that's for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I advise as well, whoever, it's called a brief illustrated guide to understanding Islam. So I advise everyone to read this book. Yeah. Yeah, this book. So I advise everyone to read this, and this is very beneficial one for everyone. Yeah? All right? Do you have a Quran?
Yeah, I was given one.
Okay. So I wish you all the
I'll
best.
read it on my flight back.
All right. Where do you come from?
I'm Canadian, but I live in Germany.
Yeah, I see. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
Yeah,
Remind me your name?
Mike.
Mike. My name is Muhammad.
Mohammed, nice
All right.
to meet you. Yeah.
Nice meeting you. All right, Mike.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.